Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Subscription Boxes and More with Michelle. As you can see, we are getting ready to do a video on the project that the, what's her name, Jessie Peterson with the art journaling box from Let's Make Art. The project that she showed on the 18th. I've already done the one using the supplies, but we are going to do one, a similar project. So, the project that we did, the video on the 18th that we did with her, was, she called it Refashion, and sorry, trying to do everything one-handed because, as you will know from my last video on the makeup from Ipsy, my new camera is not working out, and I'm going to have to end up sending it back. The sound quality is not good. The video quality is not good. But we tried, and tried to save some money by getting the camera from Wish. And, guys, I don't recommend it. So anyways, this being the, what do they call this? The technique card from that video. There's what you were supposed to end up with. And here is mine that I already did with the video. Let's see if we can get up high enough, but you can still kind of see it. All right, mine is a little different. I gave her hair more texture. I also added some detail to the flower. I also put makeup on her cheeks, and you can't really see it real well, but her eye is actually blue. And I inked, painted, and then inked around my words that came on the word sheet that they used. And I also went around, I don't know if you can see it, but around it on the paper behind it to make it pop up a little more, to give it a little more like dimension, so that even though it's glued down flat to the page, it looks like it's popped up a little bit. So anyways, I also, another difference is I left the oh, what do you call it? Like graph, like paper. I left a little bit of that around mine, just to give it another, bit of visual interest there. That's one thing I did different. Also, they did theirs on the right side. I did mine on the left side because I didn't want to leave a blank page from where we did the last project. I want my art journal to have something on every page. And we already need to go back and do the front page here. And I'm not sure what they're going to do or if they're going to do anything with that. And then the blackout poetry, we still have this page that, I mean, yes, it's painted, but I want to put something there. Probably some more blackout poetry or something. Because I don't like the look of it just being plain, and my my colors didn't come out real good anyways. So, and then I did another blackout poetry, as you know, and this was the project before the one that we're working on today, which I wasn't as fond of, but I guess, it's kind of growing on me. It's really not my thing to just, I don't know. Like I said, abstract is not my favorite. So anyways, but it's growing on me. And then there's this one. Now, another thing that I did differently is that they wanted us to, or she wanted us to paint just the black ink, but she didn't do hers edge to edge, as you can see here. She left a border around it and a little bit more rough. I mean, I tried to do it rough at the top, but I didn't use the right kind of brush and all of that. And you could kind of see her brush strokes and, where it got thicker and thinner, that black ink there. Well, I because mine came out more solid and I didn't remember to leave a border of the white, I took my Dr. P.H. Martin acrylic in the bright yellow and a little bit of the Dr. P.H. Martin Radiant Concentrated Watercolor in the Sunrise Pink. And I did some streaks over top, and I wish that you could see it better because it actually has more of a, like an iridescent effect, and did some streaks behind her, but you can't really catch that on the camera for some reason. So regardless, I thought that I would do mine, you know, give mine a little bit of my own flair and put my own spin on it. I also allowed my brush to go up and above the edge, and so that you got some of it up here too, just because I already had a smear up there and it kind of tied that in and made it look intentional. So anyways, because I did not do this with you, I am going to show you what we did and do a different, the same technique, but a different picture on this side. So what we did is we started out with the Dr. P.H. Martin Black Star Waterproof India ink in the matte black. And we painted that, as you can see, not all the way down because we were doing the layering of the paper at the bottom, and you know, we needed to have it behind her picture, but we did not need to have it all the way down and waste the ink. So because I cannot open that one-handed and really paint this one real well one-handed, I'm going to have to pause you here, and I'll be right back. All right, let's please focus. Okay, I also meant to read to you the prompt card for this, so I'm just going to do that really quickly. It says, have you ever noticed in fashion there is always something old making a comeback? Think about your art. Is there something you've tried in the past that you can bring back to your current art style and remix it? Maybe making over a magazine page is more up your alley. What can you add to a fashion photo to spice it up? You might be surprised by what a little refreshing can do for your creativity if you're willing to give it a try. So again, this was called Refashion. And I have my bits and pieces there that we're going to be working with. But first we have to do that black background. And I'm going to try, maybe I'll do it the same, to kind of tie it in and carry it over. Maybe I'll intentionally cover the whole top part with the black, but then do the streaking like I did here. Maybe I'll do that. All right, so what we're going to start with is this, what size is this? This Princeton Select Oval Mop Brush in 1/2 inch. And I'm going to do that background. Now, she poured out, or, you know, used the dropper and put some of the ink on the tray. But I really don't want it to dry, and I don't want to waste. So I'm actually dipping my brush. And I don't see why that should not be allowed. All right, so she did kind of a deal where she kind of pushed up and then pulled down to try to get the rounded, like bumpy effect, or like what do you call that, like kind of a scalloped look across the top. Now I'm going to go ahead and, in the interest of time, and also because I can't do this well one-handed, I'm going to go ahead and do the coverage of the black, and I will be right back with you. Okay, so I have my layer of black on there, and it is drying. So we're going to set this aside for the moment. And this lovely couple here from an ad in a magazine from like some kind of medication, I don't know. I had to cut them apart because it was too wide to fit on my page. So, but that's not going to really matter once we have that black background across there. And you see he's like holding and kissing her hand, and she's kind of smiling at him. And what we need to do, because this is magazine paper, and anything that we do with the watercolor or acrylic or anything, could, not only would it go through the paper and maybe make it not look real nice, it will also probably smear the ink up. So, I'm sorry, I'm having a lot of trouble concentrating on what I'm trying to say. Anyways, I've got it sitting on a piece of, like, wax paper, because what I need to do is I need to take this clear gesso and I need to put a good coating of that on these two, so that whatever we do with the watercolor and acrylic, to refashion those folks, whatever we're going to do, we don't want that to mess up the ink or soak through the paper or do anything funky like that. So we're going to put on the clear gesso, and we are going to let that dry, and go back to working on the black, the page in the book. Now, one of the things that Jesse Peterson mentioned was that you want to make sure that you wash that gesso out of the brush right away, because it will dry in there and apparently ruin your brush. So that's a tip that you will need to know. I'm not going to show you me painting the gesso on, because, I mean, I'm just painting it on, guys. Just making sure I cover the whole images, and I'll be right back with you in a moment when that step is finished. Okay, I don't know if it was necessary or not, but because the paper is so thin, and I can't do this one-handed. Let's see if I can hold it with my elbow. Hold the camera. Okay, I don't know if it was necessary to do so. When I did the other picture, it was the first time I've ever used any kind of gesso, believe it or not. With all my years of paper crafting and all that, I had never, because I hadn't really done mixed media, I had not worked with gesso, had never even heard of it. And this doesn't want to... I decided I wanted a flower, so I went and found a flower. But I put a couple coats of gesso on because the paper is so thin, and it just didn't seem like it did much the first coat. I also gessoed the wording because it came out of the magazine as well. And if I'm going to do any of the painting on it, I thought that, and inking on it, I thought that it should probably have some gesso on it too to protect it. So anyways, there they are. The couple have had 2 coats. Everything else has only had 1. I'm going to go ahead and do a second coat on the other things, and I will be back with you. We will let these dry, but we will, when I come back, we will be working on that black background to do the streaks that I put on the other one, because I thought that turned out kind of neat. Be right back. Okay, so the ink has dried, and I've put a drop of both of those, the watercolor and the acrylic, onto my Butcher's Tray palette, and I'm just going to dip into the yellow acrylic, and I'm just going to sort of make some streaks down, and I'm going to, make sure that it is blended all the way, sort of, yeah, I guess blended out or whatever, because I don't want it to dry real yellow. It doesn't have to be necessarily extremely straight or anything like that. I just want to put it on, but hide it at the same time. So I want it to kind of barely be there. Because, again, this is what I did on the other side, because the black was just too solid, and I did mine after I watched the whole video instead of doing it along at the same time. So I forgot that she didn't take the black all the way to the edge and all of that. So I wanted mine to have a little more interest and things. And I couldn't take the ink back off. So I instead opted to try something with the paints to see if I could add some kind of lighter tones and things, and I ended up with this like iridescent look. Now I'm not finished. I know what you're going to say. It's a little too much of the yellow probably, but then I dipped into that sunset pink, and I kind of went over top of that to tone it back down a little bit, and it kind of, like I said, kind of toned it down, the yellow a little bit, and just sort of smeared it on. And I'm running out of the pink, so I'll be back in just a second, and you can see what it looks like all done. So hold on a minute. Okay, so you can see a little bit, it matches the other side a little more, and trying to catch where it kind of gives it kind of an iridescent quality. You can see there's a little wet left in spots, but anyways, I wish that you could catch it a little better. I also did the top like I did on that side, you know, added a little bit of the color across there because I wanted them to kind of go together. So anyways, there's that. Now, I could not use the pieces. I have more of these from the original papers that were sent along with the kit. I can't use what is left because I'm not sure. I think that there's one more project. I mean, my understanding is that there's one more project left, and I'm assuming that it must be using those scraps. So what I did was I went through the magazines that I had, and I cut out some things that I thought were kind of visually interesting to do some papers and to give it some textures and all of that. And there's this black and white striped one that has stripes that go different directions that I thought sort of kind of mimic the stripes there with the yellow, but this being black and white instead. But this side also has some, you know, some brush strokes, and so I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to use the brush stroke side here or the actual stripe side on here, because I also have, this was painted on like a swatch onto a white pumpkin, and I only cut out the stripes that were like swatched on there because, you know, it's kind of some of the same colors, the pinks and the orange and such. And I'm going to turn this way. I won't use the whole width of that. It's too wide. So there's that piece. And then I have one that's just a navy blue that was actually part of a picture that I was going to use, but then the lady was actually too wide for the page. So, and she had gray hair. She was in color, but her hair was gray. And I thought that, and it was like blowing out. It was pretty. I thought it would be nice to use, but she was just too wide, much too wide for the page. Maybe if I was doing like a double page and she was down the center, I'd have to cut her face in half. But, and then there's this sort of a, I don't know what you would call that, sort of a burnt sienna or burnt orange or whatever color strip. All these coming from a magazine. And I'm going to take and layer these somehow across the page. Again, they won't be this width and all of that, but I'm trying to just get a feel for how they're going to turn out. Maybe I want to do, I had this laid out, and now I don't even remember how. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go with this, as I said, on this direction, or if I'm going to put it on this side. I'm not sure which one gives it, maybe that side gives it more interest, even though this has the stripes going in different directions, and I thought that would be neat, because this kind of has this, on this side has stripes going in different directions. But because I have these stripes, maybe that's too many just regular stripes. Maybe it would be better if I do the brush, sorry, the fan is catching it, brush stroke side. I think I may do that. And then I'm going to figure out how to layer this up. I can't take it up too far up the page. I think I might stick with it about this height, even though the man and woman, they are shorter. I'm not sure yet. I was going to try to keep them a little even, but they are, the pictures are not as tall as she is. So I'm not exactly certain how far up I want to take the papers. Maybe I'll make them a little thicker and bring them up higher so that there's not quite so much of the black. Not 100% sure how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to get that figured out. What we are going to do though is, now our kit came with the little small thing of Yes Paste, the little sample, and you can see I have quite a little bit of that left. But I also bought this big thing of Yes Paste from Let's Make Art, and I'll tell you, I'd never heard of it, never tried it. I love it. I love this more than Mod Podge or anything, because it's a really thick paste and doesn't wrinkle your paper, doesn't bleed through because it's so thick. Anyways, I'm going to apply that I'm going to figure out how wide I want my stripes of paper, my collage of papers, and I'm going to go ahead and put the Yes Paste on those, and I'm going to line those up on the page, and I'll be right back with you. Our people are still drying. We are going to need to do a little bit of refashioning on those, and but before we do that, let's get those papers down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I think I've figured on, I think I've settled on this configuration right here with the paper. Now, granted, this is not glued down or anything, so it's a little wonky, but I think I'm going to go with that. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to get this Yes Paste painted onto the back of there, or not really painted. I'm going to use my, hey guys, I got a palette knife. Remember I couldn't find the other day? Well, I'm going to use the palette knife and spread the Yes Paste, see it, look how thick this is, onto the back of these pieces. Now, it needs only a very thin layer, and so this should last me a very long time, this big tub of it here. But I'm going to smear that on the back. I'm going to lay those pieces down where I want them, and I will be back. I just wanted to show you how I was going to lay it out and to show you that Yes Paste before I slather that on there. And it's very easy stuff to use, and I love it. Oh, it dries clear, and it comes off of my little table tray very well with just a baby wipe. Something I wanted to show you about the Yes Paste, well, I got it on here. I'm not too fussed about that because I am going to have those words on there and I can probably cover that up. But what I wanted to show you is I had a bubble under there, and hello, let's focus. I want to show you, and while this is still wet, how easy it is to just peel. Now, remember, this is very, very thin magazine paper. Look how easily that peels up and then just goes right back down. You can't really do that with most wet glues. You certainly can't do it with glue runners. So I really like that it's very much repositionable while you're still working with the Yes Paste being wet. Now, I did get an air bubble under there, but again, I'm not too worried. But there you go. There's the collage of papers at the moment, and we are going to put our Mr. and Mrs. right up here. And before that, though, we have to do our refashioning. So, I didn't put the lid on my Yes Paste. That's not a good idea. Another tip that they gave us was that you want to make sure that you do not have a bunch of the Yes Paste on the threads or inside the lid, because, sorry, I know I'm all over the place with the camera because I'm looking at the Yes Paste and not at you, because when it dries, you will not be able to get the lid off. All right, so back over here, what we were talking about, our Mr. and Mrs., they're going to go right here, but first we have to do the refashioning of those two. I need to I need to get my wax paper kind of smoothed out here, because Mr. and Mrs. are going to go on there. And now, in the tutorial, they did not cut out their pieces first, and I probably should not have done so. It would probably be easier to do the painting on them. Don't stick to me. If they were still on the background. But too late now. And there's those words. Hey, where's the other one? We've got a missing... No, there it is. If I can pick it up, and things are sticking to me. All right. So, and it does not matter that we are all curly, because again, we're going to use the Yes paste to stick these guys down. But this is going to make it a little harder for the painting. And of course, I did not leave it in the bigger picture where it would not have affected. It would have curled up the paper maybe, but not the images I was going to use. But too late now. So I'm trying to sort of curl them back so they'll lay a little bit more flat. And I'm thinking perhaps our Mr. here, maybe he needs a pink shirt. Because we only have the two colors. Well, we have three colors when you factor in the black. But because the images are black and white, we obviously do not want to give him a black shirt. Because between the image, the black and white of the image, and then the black of the ink on the background, he would look like a floating head. So I think maybe we're going to give him, I could go with yellow, but I think I'm actually going to go with a pink shirt for him, because I think I'm going to give her some yellow streaks in her hair. And like I did the other picture, I may give her a little bit of pink in her cheeks and hope it doesn't ruin our image. We'll see when we play around with the hair and make sure that, you know, how the paper is going to react. Then I'm going to, not sure if I'm going to go pink or yellow on the flower. Maybe even a little bit of both, or maybe I'll go orange by mixing those. And then I'm going to do a little edging of color around the words, and I'm going to put some of the colors on the palette, and there's really not any way I'm going to be able to hold the camera and paint at the same time. I apologize, but I will bring you back when I've got the color on the paper, and we'll talk about it then. So, and it will be before I glue them down, though. So, I'll be right back. Alrighty. So, here is the finished product here. I added the Good Life there because there was so much space up here at the top that didn't have anything. I decided to put the Live in the Moment up there to take up some of that space, which left just a little too much down here with nothing going on. So I found these words, The Good Life, in the Better Homes and Gardens magazine. And there's the flower, which I painted with the pink and the yellow to make this orange, which makes it just kind of look like a blob. So I went with a black ink pen and I kind of gave it some petals, the same as I did over here with a red ink pen. I don't know why I gave it a darker center. I tried to give it like a little bit of a darker center, like where the petals would be closer. But the color contrast, it was just way too much, and I didn't want to do the whole thing orange. And who's to say my flower can't be, maybe it's more of a marigold kind of thing. But anyways, over here we have a carnation that the detailing got way lost with the painting, even with the gesso that I used to prepare the page. And so I did the same thing over here to give a little bit of petal definition. I think it looks all right. Also inked around the edge of it a little bit to kind of give it a little of a shadow against the page. I don't know. Here I inked around life, but then I used the pen to put some lines around the good to try to, you know, make it just a little different. So everything's not the same. The gentleman there, the pink shirt looked like I had gone over it with a pink highlighter, because as you can see by her hair, that pink is some serious highlighter pink. And I didn't like it on the gentleman's shirt too well, so I went over the top of it with the yellow to give it more of an orange cast. Again, lost some detailing, so it just looked kind of like he was surrounded by some kind of an orange blob. I went over some of the very faint detail with the pen to try to just give him some shape. And our lady here, I should not have tried to give her an eyebrow, but again, her face had sort of gotten lost. It doesn't look so good, but you know, she's an old lady. She probably, you know, plucked her eyebrows into non-existence in the 60s or whatever, like happened to me. And so maybe she had to draw it back on with a pen. And if you watched my Ipsy video, that thumbnail there, you know, I made a joke of the fact that I couldn't see without my glasses on. And so I drew all over my face with the makeup to you know, make fun of myself and the fact that I can't see to put on makeup, because to see, you have to take off your glasses, but then when you take off your glasses, you can't see. So anyways, so there you go. I painted those in a little bit and inked around the edge. I'm not going to go around the edge like I did on this side with the ink pen to give it more of a shadow, because you won't really see it because it's on that black background. So hopefully you can see a little more of the color changes in those stripes there. It's got kind of the pink and orange and yellowish greenish color because of the black. So anyways, I hope that you agree that I did refashion them. And there's my 2 pages that I did, the one with the materials they gave us, and this one using the paints and things, but magazine pictures, so that I could show you. I wish I would have had somebody to hold the camera so that I could film showing you the whole process, but I hope I explained it all right. Anyways, so there it is, and I hope that they have one more video using these products, and if so, I will show you how to do that, and hopefully you will be inspired to do your own art journaling and maybe even get the Let's Make Art subscription box. Speaking of, I will be getting the watercolor box soon, and we'll see what we can do with that. It's a little intimidating, but I want to give it a whirl. So with that, please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We are, last I looked, at 86 subscribers, and so we're real close to that 100 so that we can have the giveaway. So please, if you have not already, please subscribe to my channel, and maybe you will be the lucky winner of that $30 prize. And with that, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.